Hello, how's it going, everybody? Hope everyone's had a very prosperous, a very happy, and a great Christmas time. Hope everyone received some lovely gifts and spent some great time with family and friends. And I hope everyone had a great festive season, no matter what kind of holiday you personally, follow or celebrate at this time of year. Um, yeah, Christmas obviously this year for us it has been perfectly fine. Really, it's just been a simple affair. My dad, Jackie, Christmas Eve met up with Smithy and my good bud Sam, who was a Firestorm. Had a few drinks, and it has been a good Christmas. It has been a nice Christmas. It has been a chilled one. Um, Forgive me for being a little bit. I don't know. I, I feel obviously I like to make videos whenever I have a spike of depression. I know some people don't like it when I do this. Some people are quite vocal, or well, not in a bad way, but some people don't like it when some people don't like it when I'm vocal. Some people, I sometimes get messages saying seek help, go see a professional, and I'm like, I don't need to. This is just, I prefer to make videos whenever I have a spell of depression. And those of you who do care, and those of you who have followed my channel, and whenever I've spoken about my depression, they would have, or not just spoken about my depression, or whenever, the last time I have spoken about it, because, I have been trying my damnedest to move forward with my life and try to have a much more of a positive outlook on life. And that has been somewhat a good thing. And I have indeed had you know, my mental space has been better than it used to be. It hasn't been as hectic, shall I say? It's not been as hectic. Um, you know, my mental health. I haven't been dwelling on things as bad as I was. Dwelling on the past, for instance, dwelling on things that's happened. Um, but I guess it's that time of year. I think it's because it's Christmas and it's coming into a new year. Um, and I just think it's kind of normal to be reflective at this time of year. I mean, everybody's different when it comes to grief. Everybody's different when it comes to processing things, But for me, I think like throughout the whole year, I'm relatively okay. There are certain points of the year where, obviously, like anniversaries, birthdays, certain things that we celebrate every year that sadly certain people we can't celebrate with. It's little things like that that I think is kind of normal at this time of year to be somewhat reflective, and somewhat thoughtful, especially at Christmas. I think. I mean, even though we think that those people we've lost in our lives, if ever anybody's actually lost a loved one, um, will understand greatly that we think of them all year round, irrespective. We think about those we've lost, irrespective, throughout the entire year. Constantly, we think of them. Um, but when it comes to Christmas, it seems to be that obviously Christmas is seen as a time of year where family and friends is much more important, I think, and I think it gets a little bit more noticeable at Christmas when there's certain people in your family that are no longer here. And I just wanted to make this video I don't mean to be. I don't mean to be depressive at this time of year when it's not supposed to be depressing. But once I get this out there, I will be fine. Once I get this out there, I will be fine. This is just my way of coping. Um, this is the way I choose to do it. My coping mechanism is this. I like making videos and I like talking about real life subjects and not shying away and writing them down on a piece of paper. I'd rather be open about it because I'm not the only person going through these feelings and emotions, and I'm not the only person that's ever dealt with grief in their life, lost a loved one, and so on. And with me making these videos and me being open about this sort of thing, I think it's important that other people feeling the same way as I am, it is okay to be open about those feelings. And you don't have to go and see a shrink or a psychiatrist or what have you. You don't have to go down those. If you wish to, then all power to you. But I mean, you don't have to go to those lengths. You can be as open as possible. You don't necessarily have to make a YouTube video, but it's very important to be open when it comes to your emotions and your mental state at that moment in time. That's just my personal opinion on when it comes to mental health. I just think it's much more important to be open with people that you trust, people that you know. You don't have to go YouTube route like I do, but everybody has a different way of coping. Um, but yeah, I think as many of you know, obviously, my mum passed away like it must be 8 years now. Yeah, I think it's 8. Yeah, it will be because my dad turned 70 years old when my mum passed. Literally, my mum passed away the February of that year, and my dad just literally turned 70 in the January of the year she passed away. So it was literally only about 3 weeks to a month, for give or take, around about that time between my dad celebrating his 70th and my mum passing away. And so my dad's about 78, going on, well, he's 79 in January. So it's actually going, yeah. So my dad's I think 79, I think, in January. It's the 3rd of January. Um, so yeah, it would be 9 years in 2026 when it finally comes around. So it is quite incredible that that amount of time has gone by so quickly. That it completely strange to me that it don't feel like it's been 8 years on going on 9 years. It doesn't feel like that. It does not feel like it at all. It feels like it only happened about a year ago. It's still very fresh in my mind still very fresh in my mind of what happened. My mum being rushed into hospital, me having to go to work, and then my mum literally fighting for a good few days, and then eventually we get the phone call in the middle of the night to go in and see her. And I will never, for the rest of my life, forget that scene of my mom fighting for breath and her taking her final breath. And I will never forget that. That is constantly just etched onto my brain, and I will never forget it. It is something I will never wish on my worst enemy to witness. And then obviously what about three or 4 years after my mum passed, my granddad passed away because, well, I believe it was due to cancer. Um, my granddad had cancer years ago, but he ended up fighting it, and it went into remission, and he was constantly having to go to cancer checkups every year and everything, and keep a check on it. Everything seemed fine when it came to his cancer, but when it did come back, I believe. So it was I can't remember what cancer he had. I think it was something. It was a cancer in the joints. It was something that affect. It was like a cancer that was affecting his joints. Like that was in his. Yeah, I'm not going to go into details, but it was. Yeah. Anyway, so it was in regards to cancer. That was what my granddad. His health just went down really bad. Um, and it was during COVID when he passed away. Obviously in lockdown, and I was very, very uh, wary of going to see him because at the time I was working at Morrison's, so I was working in retail, and I was what they would call frontline staff, even though we wasn't really respected as that back then. But we was known as frontline staff working in retail, and yeah, I was a bit paranoid of going to see him because I felt if I passed something on to my granddad, I don't want to be held responsible because if he catch, because his immune system was incredibly bad. So like something as small as a cold or the flu or the cold or some kind of virus, something very normal virus. If I was to pass something on to my granddad, then it could really cause implications to his health because that's how bad he was. So I chose to be very distant and only went round very, very now and again. And yeah, unfortunately, he passed away at home in the flat that they lived in. He didn't want to be in hospital. He wanted to be at home. So they had like a special hospital bed where my granddad was in, and obviously my grandma and one of my aunties and certain people would go around and just help him out and help my grandma out. But I just was very distant. I know that's looking at it now in retrospect, I feel very heartless for doing that. But at the same time, I was putting my granddad's health first above anything else. And at the time, with it being COVID, I did not want to pass anything over to him. So I only went round very sparingly now and again because I was very, very, very paranoid that I'd pass something over. So unfortunately, long story short, he did pass, and I never got to say goodbye to my granddad. And then not long after, um, I think it was. I don't think it was quite a year, but anyway, so not long after my granddad, my grandma was rushed into hospital. She basically just gave up. She stopped eating and so on, and then she sadly passed away in hospital, joining my granddad forevermore, as it were. And yeah, I never got to say goodbye to her either. And it's just very difficult to. Yeah, it's just I miss them all. I miss my grandparents, of course. I miss my mom, and it feels very strange even now that none of them are here. We can't celebrate this time of year with them, and also unfortunately there was a little bit of family drama in between there, between my mum passing away and my grandparents passing away. There was a bit of family drama, but I'm not going to go into that here. But yeah, it's just there was a hell of a lot to deal with, and people wonder now why I was so vocal and why I was very depressed over from like the COVID situation right through like my mum passing away, and my grandparents passing away. People now might realise why my headspace was as fractured as it was back then, and why I'm pretty much nearly every status on Facebook, every social media status, and majority of my vlogs were very depressing because that was my mental space back then, and it was it was family drama. This in one circumstance, and then it was trying to come to terms with my mum passing away and then my grandparents passing away, and it was just so much to deal with at once. And yeah, it was just too much. It was just too much. And Obviously, the reason why I'm making this as well, Boxing Day, that is, well, what time are we on? It's just gone 12:30. Um, Obviously, yesterday was Boxing Day, and Boxing Day is my granny and granddad's or my grandparents' wedding anniversary. It would have been their wedding anniversary. Um, so yeah, yesterday was chilled. We just watched TV and watched some films, had a couple drinks, and yeah, yesterday obviously I put up a thing on Facebook, dedicated to my grandparents, and that was that. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's normal to feel like this, especially at this time of year, remembering those that we've lost, and at a very special point of the year, which a lot of people. I mean, I'm not a religious person, and it's not about religion per se to be, to think of others that you've missed, that you've lost. Um, I'm not a religious person. I'm not a devout Christian or anything like that. Um, but again, I say that's just me. But everyone's different again. But I'm not a religious person. But I mean, I don't follow Christmas to. I don't go to like Christmas service, and I don't go to Sunday service or anything like that. I'm not a devout Christian. I don't follow it in that way, but um, I do. When it comes to Christmas, even though I hate the hustle and bustle, I hate the hustle and bustle around Christmas, which is like the whole run up to Christmas. Um, the fake commercialized side of Christmas where everybody is like fighting over the last turkey, things like that, and there's just no heart in it anymore. And it's that side of Christmas I do not like. Working stupid hours and all that kind of thing. I just think it's ridiculous, and it's only for one day, really. Um, but yeah, when Christmas is here, when it's Christmas Eve and it's Christmas Day and Boxing Day, I do love it. I do like Christmas. I love Christmas when it's here. But it's yeah. I've always seen as Christmas being a time being of togetherness. It's a time of togetherness, which is very true. It's about being with family. It's about being with friends. It's about good times. It's about having a good laugh. It's not just about the Christian path of it. It's about family and it's about friends. It's about togetherness, which is very true. And unfortunately, because of that, I think it's very, very normal to be somewhat reflective, like I've said already in this video, and thinking of those we've lost. And I know for certain there is many people probably that will watch this video, likely watch this video, that will feel quite the same, quite similar feelings. Because you never truly get over those that we've lost. They are always very prominent in our thoughts and our minds, and we, they're in here and they're in here in our hearts. We never forget them, and I think it's very, very, especially at Christmas. I think it's much more. I think it's still very prominent. But yeah, I just wanted to be open and talk about that and talk about my feelings. And I do apologise with it being so. We're making such a depressing video, but with getting this out, I do feel somewhat better. I do feel somewhat better. I've just been very lost in my thoughts these last couple of days. Um, Even though Christmas, we've had a nice Christmas. Me, my dad, and and Jackie, and seeing Smithy and Sam on Christmas Eve. Yeah, we have had a good time. It has been a good time. It has been a nice Christmas. It's not been a depressing Christmas. It's been a nice Christmas. I just want to make people very aware of that. It's just typical of I've just been very. Um, I've just been thinking about things, thinking about stuff that's happened, uh, and thinking about those that I've lost in my life. Yeah, that's basically why I made this video. But thank you for watching. I'm gonna go now, and I'm gonna enjoy the next couple of days, and then I'm back at work on Monday, and then off again for New Year's. But I just want to say, as I leave you, I just want to say I hope everyone's had a nice Christmas. I hope everyone that celebrates Christmas had a nice Christmas. I hope everyone just had a good time with friends and family, a safe Christmas. And yeah, I wish everybody the best for the new year. And I will be back properly with some live streams and regular videos very, very soon. Once we get back to normal after New Year, I will be back at it again making videos. But thank you, take care, and to those we've lost, and all the best to all of us and to everyone. Bye bye. See you soon.